It's time to break down some football.
We got to get our mind right. Touchdown, win.
From the perspective of guys who played in the NFL.
Caught, touchdown!
And a guy who had one really great sack in high school.
Oh, you're so weak. You're a waste of my time.
Greg Camarillo and Marcus McNeil are the pros, and Skraby is the Joe.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Two Pros and a Joe starts right now.
Two Pros and a Joe, week number 2 in the NFL. We are back. Greg Camarillo, Marcus McNeil, Matt Skraby, and you can follow us at Catch Camarillo for Greg, at Marcus McNeil 73 for Marcus, at Matt Skraby for myself, and then follow us at the number 2 Pros and a Joe on Twitter, Instagram, everywhere else. If you also have any questions for us or anything, 2prosandAjoe@gmail.com. I checked that. Have not received any emails from anyone, so please, someone send me an email. Make sure that the email is still working. But as of right now, no emails in. But we have a ton to talk about, and thank you for all the feedback on the first week's episodes. We really... I took a lot from that. And so we're just going to continue working those in as we go. We're just going to try to get better and better and better. But one of the feedback items that we got was actually Greg Camarillo. He got a feedback item, and we're going to start by saying Tom Brady's big dick is back, baby. It is back. He is slamming it all over the table.
Diving right in.
He's just jumping right in because Tom Brady and his dick.
Didn't even take 2
his 44-year-old dick is just ruling the world right now. He just continues to do what Tom Brady does. 5 touchdowns.
Oh, the email inbox is filling up as we speak.
Yes, absolutely.
From me.
Dick talk is what we're here for. But Tom Brady, 5 touchdowns and an easy win over the Falcons. His defense gave him 2 pick sixes there at the end. And you guys are still reeling from Dick Talk, which is hilarious.
Man. It's the new social media platform for Skraby.
Oh, Dick Talk. Patent pending. It's like hot or not, but for dicks. So,
oh my God, this is just going down the wrong road. This is just so wrong right now.
All right, steer back on road.
Yeah, let me try to steer back here. Tom Brady, Buccaneers, 2-0. Looking like the Super Bowl favorites that they are. I don't know what you guys are thinking, but it's going to be really tough to beat the Bucs, especially with all the stuff that they got going on with their team. Receivers, defense, Tom Brady, everything.
Yeah, I mean, the stat that tells me the most is 22 returning starters, and they won a Super Bowl. So they literally didn't get worse. They're going to get better because they have an offseason together. Last year, they didn't have an offseason together. Antonio Brown is now part of the team officially and not in the midst of legal trouble and is balling out. Like there's no reason for them not to repeat. You know, the only roadblock would be Kansas City staying healthy, which would have been last year. But then we see that Kansas City's got some chink in the armor right now. Tom Brady and the Bucs look great.
Man, I don't think nobody can disagree with that right now. Shit, the Bucs are rolling. You know, they have a solid defense. Whenever you have Tom Brady at quarterback, period, you got a shot. And then you add those offensive weapons, the repeat is what it seems like it's going to be this year. But I just hope somebody steps up and challenges them. They got a good challenge week 1 versus Dallas, and they played them tough there. So I don't know if it's going to be so much of a cakewalk. The Atlanta Falcons are piss poor this year. And that's the whole thing I'll tell you. They done took the dirty bird away from them. You can't say dirty bird no more. I saw a jersey on the back said, not Matt Ryan, but I'm trying. Like, and I'm trying. Like, it's just bad over there. And I knew it was going to be like that when they got rid of Julio. That was the heart and soul of their team. And whenever you just up ship and let them go, like, you have a lot of reevaluating and rebranding and just making your new team together. So let's not give them the Super Bowl right now because the Atlanta Falcons are just so terrible right now. So bad.
I mean, that you got a great point, Mag. And no one has ever gone 17-0 in a regular season first because it's the first time that there's been 17-0 and won a Super Bowl. Tom Brady came close, lost in the Super Bowl. But we play for a reason. There's going to be injuries. Something's going to happen. They're going to lose a game. They're not going to go undefeated. So, yeah, we're not giving them the Super Bowl, but damn, they look good.
Yeah, they still got some tests out there, so I want to see what they do against the Patriots on the 3rd. They got them coming up pretty soon. So that's always going to be a nice little rivalry. You got Belichick versus Tom. You got the new Tom Brady 2.0 and Mac Jones. Can you really do something right now? So that's going to be a good matchup. But like you say, injuries come about. You never know what's going to happen week in and week out. And to be honest, it's the NFL. Anybody can lose at any given time. But if anybody could put a string of wins together, Tampa Bay definitely got the squad that looks like it on paper.
Yeah, well, this isn't a fantasy football podcast, but I was not very happy with Antonio Brown over the weekend. He had like one catch for like 17 yards, but they have many receivers.
He's not the Antonio Brown that was the best receiver in the league. He's like their 3rd or 4th option, which
it's
you got
crazy.
Antonio Brown as your 4th option. That's nuts. That's like Kyler Murray having AJ Green as his 4th option. These dudes got weapons. Bucks play the Rams this week, Sunday, September 26th.
Big test.
Be a good matchup right there.
Yeah, that is. Real quick about the Falcons. It's funny you brought that up, Marcus, about how they're piss poor right now, because Matt Ryan, I know that he puts up tons of stats, and I know that he's been to a Super Bowl. He's won an MVP. What's going to happen with him? I have a feeling that he is going to want to be traded somewhere or he just fades away into the darkness. Greg's saying fade away into the darkness. But there's got to be a team out there that's going to want him to put them over the top for at least a deep playoff run, right?
You know that Homer Simpson gif of him fading into the bushes?
Oh, into the bushes, yeah.
His soul was murdered at halftime of the Super Bowl when they were up 28-3. That's it. It's done. It's over. He's still a good quarterback, but he will not be relevant again.
I saw Matthew. I saw Matty Ice back in college. Back when he played at BC, and he kind of had that same rapport where he was one of the top quarterbacks, if not the top quarterback coming out of college. But I felt like he never played well in those big games. By the time, he was strung together a good season, had great stats, and then it got to a big game, it always seemed to unravel for him, regardless of if he's playing on the NCAA level or when he's been playing in the NFL. It just seems like he just can't get right. He just can't get right. And Atlanta, they are so tired of dealing with Matt Ryan. That he came post Michael Vick, who was like the poster child of Atlanta, so that swap never went well in Atlanta. Matt Ryan came and he put up numbers, but I think a lot of those numbers were because he had receivers like Roddy White, Julio Jones. He had Tony Gonzalez in there for a while. Like, he had a nice little rung of receivers and always used to have like a decent running back. Michael Turner was down there for a while, so he carried a lot of that load on him. I just don't think he's that type of quarterback that if you think he's going to come in and change the dynamics of your whole team, I don't think he's that. I think he's a solid quarterback, but I don't think he's going to get you that playoff run that you think you're going to get by picking up a quarterback like him with those type of stats.
Interesting. Because you see guys just move around the league. You always see that being brought up. Can they make them a contender and all that stuff? And I get what you're saying about Matt Ryan. It doesn't seem like he would be a guy who would just come in and change the complete culture of a team and change what they can do. Now, Marcus, I know you want to talk about this one. Monday Night Football, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers beat the Lions, and Aaron Rodgers looked good. Aaron Jones looked really good. He had 4 touchdowns last night. But what do you think, Marcus? Are the Pack back, or is this just an easy win over the Lions at home?
I think this is an easy win for the Pack versus the Lions. The Lions, they're historically not a great team.
You're being nice.
What I'm saying?
Let's
just be real. Like, they did not upgrade a quarterback, get rid of Matt Stafford. So they're not one of those teams that I'm looking like to be the creme de la creme. And you turn around and you see all the problems that Green Bay has. Now, Aaron Rodgers is a great leader, and he plays to lead the guys the way he does. So him being able to make throws, him to be able to tear apart defense, like that helps. But I just feel like that locker room isn't quite the same it has been because of all the shit that they went through in the offseason, period. Then I saw like the picture of him, and this is the greatest ever. Like when I saw the meme of him with the long hair and somebody put that he looks like Nick Nolte playing Aaron Rodgers. He looks like Nick Nolte playing Aaron Rodgers in a movie about Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And like, it was spot on, you know what I'm saying, with the long hair. So like, he just looks a little disshuffled, a little, like a little still upset, that he's not having the way he wants to in Green Bay. So I'm not sure that they have all the wheels clicking like they need to make a run, especially with Tampa Bay looking like they have. I think they're the big team in the NFC right now.
Yeah, the offseason was bad. It's not what you want when you're building a championship team. That being said, winning fixes all of that. You get on a little roll, everybody gonna forget about that. To be honest with you, I think the bigger issue is the other long hair in Green Bay and David Bakhtiari, their left tackle. All-pro guy, arguably one of the best linemen out there. He got hurt in their playoff run. They were one play away from the Super Bowl. He would have been that difference. So in my mind, the division sucks. The division I played in, Minnesota's mediocre. They go up and down. You never know who you're going to get. Chicago doesn't look very good, and we just saw Detroit can't hang with them. So all they have to do is win their division, which I think is very doable. They get Bakhtiari back, I believe, at the 6-week mark. And as long as they can just stack up a few wins, get into the playoffs, let Aaron do his thing in the playoffs, they always got a shot. Especially Devontae Adams is a monster. I love watching that dude work. So I think they'll be all right.
I'm sorry, Greg. I'm sorry. They defense ain't there. And I think that's the problem. If they had a defense, now they had some offensive weapons. And if they had a defense that went along with that, then guaranteed, I'm like, okay, they're gonna be stout in the playoffs. But when you don't have a defense, like how much can you depend on that offense to do everything? Everybody's on top of Adams. Everybody's on top of him. Everybody's watching that as Jones continues to progress and become a better player. Maybe he opens it up a little bit more, but he still has a way to go. So until they get that defense, I don't believe they're a contender. I still like Dallas over them right now.
I think I have the solution to all of the Packers' problems, and that's for Clay Matthews to come back to the Packers, because apparently that's what that's what Aaron Rodgers does. He just brings his friends in. Like Randall Cobb, you could barely run a route, but come on in. I'm going to give you a job, Randall. I'm going to give you a job.
Bring them all back, man.
Bring your boys back, man. Bring the entourage back.
I mean, Clay Matthews and AJ Hawk, all those guys would definitely love to be playing again in the NFL. I just think I just can't stand Aaron Rodgers and his stupid haircut, so I'm gonna move on.
Damn, Skraby.
It's just stupid. It's just a dumb haircut. And he does. He texts like he just texts random things to people overnight, like, "Oh, we're back, baby." It's like, Aaron, no one cares, dude.
Hey, long hair don't care, Skraby.
Shailene Woodley, just go home to Shailene, okay? Just go home to Shailene.
He will. He happily will.
The other thing we want to talk about tonight, we got a couple more, is the Ravens over the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. Lamar Jackson, he throws 2 picks, but he does rush for over 100 yards. And here is where I think Lamar Jackson, well, obviously he won the game, but here's where I think Lamar Jackson's a much better quarterback than he was just even 2 years ago. Because in the fourth quarter, he led a 14-play touchdown drive that lasted over 8 minutes, and that kept Patrick Mahomes off the field. They kept the clock moving. That is a maturation, if I could use that word, maturation of Lamar Jackson in front of our eyes. And I think that that he impressed me. I'm not the biggest Lamar Jackson guy, but I will say that turned me. That did turn me, because he kept the clock moving when he needed to.
So, all right. Lamar took the next step. We've been watching him. We want him to take that next step. He took that next step. And how we know it is Lamar's problems were when his team gets behind and he's forced to come back.
Yeah.
He hasn't necessarily been able to handle it. He handled it with beauty.
Yes.
When all the lights were on him, when all the pressure was on him. And the crazy thing is, so they drafted a receiver to get first round, I think, or high, to get him some help. That receiver got hurt. fucking Sammy Watkins came out of nowhere to be a number 2 guy. So, I mean, he needed a few more weapons. He needed a few more options. But what we're seeing is he's now becoming that well-rounded quarterback. And it sounds weird to call him that after he's already been an MVP.
Yeah.
He's the most dangerous quarterback possibly ever with his feet. I know Marcus might argue Vic on that one, but he's nasty with his feet. And now he's nasty with his arm too. And it's hard to stop, man. And with the game on the line and your coach comes to you and says, do you want to go for it? Fucking love that, by the way. I love that.
John Harbaugh did say
giving
that.
the decision to his quarterback and the quarterback having all the confidence in the world. But when the game's on the line, Lamar's got it.
Bro, that's the shit that makes the NFL right there. That last play right there to seal the game is the shit that people watch the NFL for.
Yes.
4th and short. Are we going for it? Fuck yeah. Put me back in. Let's do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love the whole exchange. I love that they caught the coaches lipping it. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you want to go for it? You know
he didn't even have to finish his sentence. Yeah. Lamar already said yes.
Yeah, he was already back on the field, you know. So Skraby, like, I know it probably hurt a little bit because I know you're not the biggest Lamar fan. I don't really know who fan you are besides Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, I don't know.
Brady's reproductive unit.
That's Brady's dick. I'm a huge fan of, apparently.
but just to be honest, like, that's what you watch football for. It was a great game. Lamar gets so much ridicule over how he throws the ball, but he's such a dynamic athlete that when he's on the field, he's a problem for a defense, period. So the fact that he's making better throws, the fact that, you know, he is controlling the clock, and the fact that they had the mindset to know that, hey, if we're going to win this game, we need to have the ball in our hands, you know, because the Kansas City Chiefs score in bunches. They can score as quick as Steph Curry can hit a 3. So they know that they have to put up points. And if you can't put up point for point with them, the next best thing to do is to hold on to the ball. And they did that with that drive that took over 8 minutes.
Hey, I'd like to hear your guys' opinion, but in that situation, game on the line was 4th and 1, 4th and 2. I think Lamar Jackson is the scariest quarterback to face in that situation. Mahomes might be number 2. I don't even think Tom Brady would be up there on that list just because he can't run. I think Lamar Jackson is the biggest threat in a situation like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just the fact that, like, he can put it in there, like, he can fake the run and then pull it out of there and then beat anybody to the corner. Like, I'm talking about any of your defensive backs to the corner is a problem. But the fact that, you know, he is so deadly with his legs, there's nothing you could do about it. Only person that I could think about that could probably, like, rival him might be probably somebody like a Ben Roethlisberger, where it's like having an extra, you know what I'm saying, lineman. Having the ball and just falling forward.
Put the beef in motion.
Yeah, put the beef in motion. Or somebody like Justin Herbert, who's like 6'6", where you know all I have to do is get the ball and just lunge forward, and I should be able to get that 1 yard.
Yeah, and you know, Jimmy Garoppolo did it like 3 times over the weekend. 1 touchdown, and then 2 quarterback sneaks to get him over the line, and he converted some third downs too. So, but
I know this wasn't one of our topics, but let me jump on it real quick. There's Jimmy G. His talent has never been questioned. He's just hurt all the time.
Yeah.
When he's playing, he's a damn good quarterback. He's worth his $100 million or whatever they got him. He just gets hurt all the time. Anyway, back on track.
Yeah, but I agree with you, Greg. Lamar Jackson has to be the most dangerous quarterback in that situation. You just have no idea what's going to happen with him. And I remember specifically the first offensive play for the Ravens on Sunday night. It was a read option. Lamar kept it. The camera guy went with the running back. And that just tells you, if the camera guy can't figure it out, the guys on the field are having trouble figuring it out as well. So,
hey, I'll give you one more too. How about Tyreek Hill not being that much of a factor in that game? You know, they actually did a good job of bottling him up pretty well. And I know they were chirping a little bit, and Tyreek didn't like that. So I can't wait to see a rematch between the two, because he's not the type of guy that you're trying to piss off coming into a game. But hey, that one's in the books now, so they get to ride that wave.
Yeah. real quick before our last topic of this podcast, the Lamar Jackson beat Patrick Mahomes for the first time in his career too. So that was what was right. That was what was riding on that 14 play, 8-minute, 2-second touchdown drive. That was like 63 yards or something like that, but rushing for over 100 yards and throwing for a bunch too. Big time stuff for Lamar Jackson. You mentioned Justin Herbert, so we got to talk about the Chargers because they chargered hard over the weekend. They should have won this game like 17 times, but they didn't, and they didn't even punt in the game, and they still lose the game. How do you not punt and lose a game and only score 17 points? It's ridiculous. I mean, the Chargers are better than that, and I know that if we have San Diego listeners, they're not going to like us saying that, but the Chargers are better than that. And the ticky-tack call at the end of the game with Jared Cook, and he scored the touchdown. They called Mike Williams. It's not ticky-tack.
Tell me. I'm literally watching it right now. You are told when you go in motion as a wide receiver, it is your job to make sure that everybody is set before you go in motion. It's clear as day. Dudes were moving around. He's in motion. It's a good call. And Skraby, that leads to exactly why the Chargers charge it hard. They played a fine game. Herbert slings the rock. He's going to eventually throw picks. I'm fine with that. The two problems, picks in the red zone, can't turn the ball over in the red zone. And then penalties. They had 12 penalties, and the one penalty took back the touchdown. You do that, you give me those penalties in the red zone, those turnovers in the red zone, you're going to lose a game.
Yeah.
I feel like every time the Chargers lose like a close game or a game like this, like everybody in San Diego is just like, until you do right by me, you know, like they almost like probably it's like a love and hate relationship that they have because of what's going on and them leaving. But it was a good game. But Dallas is a team that I feel like people should be watching out this year. If Dak can stay healthy, they have a lot of playmakers on offense. You know, between Ezekiel Elliott, CeeDee Lamb, you know, Amari Cooper, like, you know, they have a deep roster to where they can sling it around and run the ball at the same time. And their defense seems to be playing a lot better this year, which is what we haven't seen them. If they can stay healthy on that offensive line to keep Dak upright and he continues to protect the quarterback, I think he's going to be good. And I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to be good. And at the same time, Justin Herbert can make any throw on the field, period. Yeah. He can make any throw on the field, period. So they're going to continue to get good, especially I like their offensive line this year. You know, they actually went and got some pass protectors on the offensive line this year that can hold their own. Hell, they on week 1 against Washington.
The difference, Brian Bulaga, is that his name?
Yes.
Out week 2, you put that guy in there, Herbert's got more time. That's the difference in the game.
That is the difference in the game. Well, hopefully the Chargers don't charge anymore. We're going to, this is the end of our podcast 1 for the week, but in our next podcast that we'll release a couple days from now, we're going to go over the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL right now. We're going to talk about these crazy taunting penalties that are happening and everybody's really mad about it. And then Greg came up with a segment called The Fuck?
The fuck?
The fuck? The fuck? So we're going to do all of that in the next podcast. Thanks for listening to Two Pros and a Joe. Make sure you tell your friends. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at the number 2 Pros and a Joe, at Catch Camarillo, at Marcus McNeil 73, at Matt Skraby, and give us some feedback. We'll be here with you in another podcast in a couple days. So look for that to be posted. Until then, have a great night. Or I guess not a night because you could be listening to it in the morning, but you know, I'm just gonna. All right. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Enjoy the podcast, everybody.